Welcome everybody to energy window number 15. This is so far our biggest window. They just keep getting bigger, it seems. But there's a very specific reason why this window is fairly large. By the way, there's our title, Guidance Through the Storm. We have a storm, but it's not just the storm that's important. There's two big main components here, energetically, this window. It's a storm, so conflicted, challenges, etc. But there's also this intuitive, experiential wisdom that comes along with it. So you get a Navigator, you get a Magellan. I'm calling this the Magellan of the Collective Tempest. I only made that original title shorter just because we didn't have room for this exquisite title. The Magellan is the Navigator. The Collective Tempest is the storm. And in these windows, we talk archetypically so that you can get kind of a story that develops in the collective, but also so you can derive the energy to help contextualize the energy. And I hope that helps. What we don't want to do is try to accidentally think of these archetypes that I develop as outcomes or predictions. They're not predictions. They're just ways of expressing a story and a narrative approach. But here's our diagram. You are here in this blue shaded area. And as you can see, we're dipping into the next eclipse cycle, which means we start the window in between the eclipses. So we have a annular solar eclipse in Libra inside of our window that we're going to talk about today. We also have a full moon in Aries, Grand Cross, three grand water trines. We have a massive T-square and a Star of David at the end. So it is warranted to be this large, and it ends just before the general election. So shocker. Now, my question out to you guys, the viewers, it's important to me to know, do you like this intro? I haven't done this before, but I'm going to read kind of the storyline just to give you a summary of what we expect during this period so you can start to cage your mind on what we're going to talk about. So here's the story. An early barrage of internal emotional conflict draws out the loyal knight. Drawing emotional lessons from past storms helps to create the battle-scarred diplomat with a psychic spine of steel in preparation for the annular solar eclipse in Libra. October offers deep emotional waters akin to a dark night of the soul, especially by October 17th, at the Aries full moon, which is 1 point. The full moon is 1 point of a hellacious Grand Cross. For the rest of October, the cosmic depth psychologist helps us to achieve new personal insights from the Collective Tempest. Ultimately, this window helps all of us reach new levels of cosmic balance as confirmed by the Star of David on 10/28/24. And the last day of this window is going to be expected to be November 3rd. All right, now let's get down into the weeds day by day. We're not going to go every single day of this. That would take forever. But we're going to hit the big highlights of this window. I want you to see the big energetic sources. But this starts actually before the window officially starts. We have Saturn and Mars in a trine. Moon just happens to be there as well on the 25th of September. And then the actual window will start later. But you're going to start seeing this loyal knight. That's the Sun trine Saturn. No, it's Mars trine Saturn. Sorry. For some reason, my notes said Sun. So it's Mars and Saturn, just as I said, the loyal knight. The astrological signature evokes the chivalrous knight, fiercely loyal, emotionally bonded to a cause, and willing to work tirelessly to protect and provide for one's kingdom, whether that kingdom be the family or a cherished ideal. The Piscean Saturn influence adds a sense of spiritual devotion and endurance to stay the course. So there's the energy of our first window. And by the way, we have a backdrop of cardinal water, which is Cancer. And remember, the last window is Earth 2.0, maybe some big changes to the nature of 3D reality, possibly. But whenever you have change, you have resistance. And I think that's what's causing this big storm to arise, is the resistance of the shearing away of the old, possibly. But anyway, Mercury leaves Virgo. Come on, where's Mercury? There we go. Mercury leaves Virgo and is combust with the sun in Libra. And that creates this backdrop, strangely, not air, but water. Water and cardinal water, which is Cancer. All right. So this is the focus is Mars in Cancer, infuses the self-protective instincts with the courage to care deeply. This placement can make one a fierce advocate for the vulnerable, but can also veer into defensiveness and indirect aggression. And then you've got Saturn as the psychic spine of steel, the unwavering faith that endures life's inevitable challenges. There's your cosmic psychic spine of steel. And that's what you're going to need to help get through this period. You're going to feel the kind of the bowing up, or the foundation building, so that you can stand the storm, harnessing emotional sensitivity as fuel for committed, consistent action. You might feel developing mastery in navigating and holding space for strong feelings, and alchemizing past wounds into empathetic leadership and mentoring. All right, our next big waypoint is on the 28th of September. We have two big alignments, two things that are really starting to farm out. Basically, we have the guide and the storm is developing. So which one do you want to talk about first? We have the Grand Water Trine is the poised sea captain. It's an old sea captain, deeply attuned to the vast ocean. This is our players, Venus, Mars, and Saturn. And then, as you notice, Mars got a square on it, and it's over to the sun. So it's Sun square Mars. This is the frustrated peacekeeper. Remember, Sun is in Libra, so wants harmony and mediation. So picture a diplomat at the negotiating table, striving to maintain a pleasant smile while seething with resentment under the surface. So there's a lot more emotional under the mask of the Libra Sun as it tries to make peace at the negotiating table, but it's not going too well. The result is a hot mess of mixed signals and misunderstandings. It's the agony of wanting everyone to just get along, but secretly resenting having to be the bigger person all the time. And what do we get when we combine this Grand Water Trine and the growing square here? Is the battle-scarred diplomat. That's what it looks like. All that experience there. He integrates the old captain's intuitive depth with the frustrated peacekeeper's idealistic drive. He balances yin and yang, assertiveness and tolerance, empathy and action. Seasoned by setbacks and battle-scarred diplomat is a master of transmuting turbulence into forward momentum. So you can see energetically you're getting wisdom and guidance, and I call it experiential too. You're going to experience more of that to help guide you. All right, zoom a few days forward into the 2nd of October. This is when we have the new moon annular solar eclipse. It's the ring of fire because of the annular, and it's in Libra. And all those players are in that increasing square, getting tighter with Mars. And so let's just talk the new moon eclipse conjunct with Mercury is the cosmic negotiator. This eclipse represents a powerful resetting of mental patterns and communication dynamics towards fairness, justice, and balance. And the Mercury really strengthens this focus of diplomacy because Mercury is in Libra as well. And those three are square over to Mars, and that's the frustrated peacekeeper we've already talked about. It's the friction and challenges, the eclipse balancing act. This is the party here that wants to negotiate, wants everybody to get along, and this creates the frustration. Well, actually, the square does. Then we have the Grand Water Trine, remember, is the poised sea captain. Following the trines creates a supportive undercurrent. And when you put all that together, you get these shape-shifting scales. You get the adaptability, right? But you also have the helping, the cosmic counselor, the alchemical ambassador. The eclipse is like a set of scales, shape-shifting from mental ideas to flowing emotions and back again. Reminds us that the path to world peace begins with healing the war within. Healing the war within. As we learn to integrate our shadow projections and honor our opponent's humanity, we become ambassadors of a higher harmony. And it's forced. It's forced. Remember, we have new moon as well as the eclipse. It's a new lunar cycle in two different cycles. So we have new moon in Libra. Here's your list of, some good ideas to develop your new moon goals. So you might want to snapshot this or screenshot this, and might help you out on the 2nd of October. Then we zoom 8 days later is the start of our second Grand Water Trine, and that one goes for about a week. We're on 10 October. And it includes the previous players, so that's Mars and Venus, but also Neptune now. So this is the oceanic shaman. Imagine a shaman submerged in the depth of the ocean, fluid, yet powerful, sensitive, yet fierce, and shape-shifting through the multitude of forms and feelings. This Grand Water Trine is similarly a potent alchemist of the emotional and erotic, practical, and mystical realms. Like the ocean, it unifies separate streams into one, i.e., the source from which we emerge and to which we return. So with this Grand Water Trine number 2, you can start seeing the Tempest T-square is really starting to get more energetically profound as well. But you might feel with that Grand Water Trine a profound psychic emotional attunement and healing capacity, that effortless flow and the intuitive and in the imaginative. Lots of feelings, lots of emotions. And then we get into the 14th of October, just rolling right along. We have that T-square, Mars, Pluto, Sun. This is a big one. We still have Grand Water Trine. We're going to have a third coming up, but it just keeps this emotions high, and the waters of the deep oceanic emotions are constantly being present. This, however, is the T-square, which pressurizes everything. This is the cosmic pressure cooker. Imagine a pressure cooker about to explode from the increasing pressure of one-sided ideologies. The T-square is a crucible of immense stress and tension, threatening to erupt at any moment. The Libra sun attempts to contain and reconcile the volatile energies, but is caught in the crossfire between primal instinct and immovable energies. And harsh authority. We got the two power houses are Pluto and Mars, and they're in opposition with this T-square on the sun. Sun just wants everybody to get along, but this creates a catastrophic level of pressure. No telling when that pressure releases, because it gets only stronger by the 17th of October. This is at the full moon in Aries, but it's also a grand cross. You can barely see this because with all the mess of lines. And you can also see the grand water trine is still there, but you have the cross. You have this opposition here, and you have the full moon. And the full moon is in Aries. It's the warrior. But the grand cross itself is only with cardinal signs. So we have a cardinal cross, which means Libra's sun has valiant attempts at diplomacy, and they're thwarted at every turn by the intense cardinal cross energies. This archetype suggests a messenger of reconciliation is sacrificed on the cross of warring polarities. So we have, with this grand cross on the cardinals, is the crucified peacemaker with the moon in Aries. So the person or the diplomat who has been trying to bring peace metaphorically gets crucified. And we have the grand water trine, as I mentioned. It's the shadow dancer, the oceanic shaman. So we have to combine all those two main energies together. We get the tempest. Combining the grand cross and the grand trine, we arrive at warring winds, whipping waters, and frenzied cross currents. The wreckage churns to the surface from the deep, with ancient griefs, festering grudges, and denied desires. Meanwhile, the crucified peacemaker twists and turns in the gale, battered and bruised, yet still radiating a variable light of unity. And then we get into late October, 26th October, through the very end of our window is grand water trine number 3. This is going to be with Mercury, Mars, and Neptune. And here you can see it. Started over. Grand water trine with those players. So let's start with Mars. It's the oceanic warrior, fiercely protective of emotional and familial bonds. You have Mercury in Scorpio. It's the depth psychologist, penetrating insight into psychological motivations and unafraid to explore taboo topics and shadow realms. And then you have Neptune, the mystical mermaid, channels inspiration from the collective unconscious and sees the sacred in the seemingly mundane, and also very idealistic. But you put all these together in our trine, you get the deep sea diver. The deep sea diver descends into the depths of the psyche, exploring the uncharted waters of the unconscious. With each descent, the diver retrieves buried treasure of insight, healing, and seeds of rebirth. So you get that Magellan sort of experience as well. And then the Star of David, hexagram 6-pointed star on the 28th of October at 7:12 a.m. Actually, it's exactly for one day. That's weird. It's from 7:12 it starts and it ends at 7:12 a.m. the next day, 24 hours, one day. The Star of David is a sacred symbol in many spiritual traditions. You can see the points of it right here. It's basically two grand trines overlapped with each other. And this is not the tightest Star of David that we've ever seen in our reports. We have seen one in the past. I can't remember when that was, but it had all but one of these little sextiles down here, and that's what you need. On this one, we only have 1, 2, 3, 4. So, it's not bad. It's pretty tight, but it's clearly not taking away from the alignment itself. It still is a Star of David, or a hexagram, is a sacred symbol representing the union of heaven and earth. We saw this in the pagans and the Gnostics, the cosmic dance of opposites, the alchemy of transformation. When this configuration appears in a transit chart, it suggests a time of heightened synchronicity, flow, and opportunity. Ultimately, the Star of David reminds us the inherent perfection and wholeness of the universe, the divine order that underlies all of creation. When we align ourselves with this cosmic harmony, we become conduits for the flow of grace, love, and transformation, serving as shining stars in the great constellation of humanity. You can see that was on the 28th of October, so very close to the end of our energy window. And this is when it ends, on 3rd of November at 10:09 p.m. This is when Mars enters into Leo. Mars in Leo. And what that does is makes fire dominant now, when all before was water. Mostly cardinal water, that whole period. But now we're moving into fire again. And the overarching archetype, at least on our initial, the end here, the start of our new window, is the luminous torchbearer, but I haven't gotten into any more details on that window. So let's summarize our window here. Begins with Mercury leaving Virgo. We have a background signature of cardinal water. This is at the end of September 2024. We have Mars trine Saturn, the loyal knight. We have 3 grand water trines at the same time. And then we have in between, we have the solar eclipse in Libra. And on Libra, the main energy planet, the sun in Libra, creating this grand cross in essence. By the time that full moon in Aries, we have so it's like we have a storm the whole time, but the climax of this storm appears to be somewhere around the full moon in Aries at October 17th. That's when we call the Grand Cross, the Tempest. And then peace or harmony or balance shows up at around 10:28. In other words, October 28th, 29th, with the hexagram as verification of cosmic balance and healing. So the Magellan of the Collective Tempest. An alternative name is the Master Navigator of humanity's Metamorphosis. Obviously, there's benefits of this storm: profound emotional growth and transformation, enhanced intuition and psychic sensitivity, diplomatic and negotiation skills, shamanic healing abilities. I like to go just sheer wisdom, experiential wisdom that shows up through this for you personally. What to look out for: overwhelming emotional intensity, getting lost in the depths of the unconscious, maybe this overthinking of trying to assess and assimilate your lessons. It's good to do some introspection through this period, but you can find it too much. Struggling to find balance and equilibrium, emotional burnout is very possible. This is a long period and a lot of emotions. 3 grand water trines all throughout. So here's the conclusion. With each wave of crisis and opportunity, the navigator grows stronger and more resilient, their skills and insights deepening with every nautical challenge. Each challenge is divinely purposeful to your personal evolution, so meet all experiences in this window with openness, gratitude, and duty. And here's your Magellan picture, folks. I want to thank you for making it this far in our video, and no telling what the actual outcomes are, or predictions for this period, like what news articles we'll see during this period or predictions. But the energies do sure look very tempest oriented, very stormy. But I encourage you to also remember and trust in the wisdom that will help guide you through there. That's all indicated in every single chart that I looked at throughout this window. We're not missing the guide that takes us through this. I think it'll be easy to see the storm, but don't forget the internal guide, the intuition, the wise one, the one who knows is deep within. So make sure you continue to access that part of you. All right, everybody, that is it for Energy Window 15. I want you to prepare properly, but in all, live in love and not in fear. Take care, and we will see you in the next video. Cheers.